Hey, what's up, everyone? Welcome to another episode of That Hobby Show. You'll see that we have two guests, three total, two guests on the screen with us today. With me, as always, is Houston from Chasing the Graph. I'm sorry. How's it going? We lost to Tabari. How you doing, Houston?
Good, man. Been starting on season 3 of Manifest and got sucked in, so that's how I've spent my day on the couch watching Netflix.
Yeah.
Sorry, I hit the wrong button. First.
It's all good. That
Right
is a hell of an appearance. Yeah. So, and with us today is comedian Tabari McCoy and super. I would say super collector for as far as autographs go, because one of the things I like to do on your Facebook page is check out your autographed collection of.
You mean the reasons why I'm probably still single, like number 8 and 9 on the list? Yep.
Maybe, but hey, I enjoy it. So you may not be happy right now, but your page makes me crazy happy to see all that because I can live through you. So
thank you, sir. Thank you. No, I enjoy my collection. Here's the thing: everybody spends money on something.
True.
Some people are into classic cars. My mom gardens, and having a home in the suburbs, I have somehow gotten a little bit of a green thumb, which if anybody checks my Facebook story, I didn't mean to get my actual thumb in the photo, something I haven't done since the days of disposable cameras, but I digress. You know, some people have a lot of vinyl. I also have a lot of sneakers, and despite being 5'7", I wear a size 14 shoe. So someone in the NBA owes me an explanation, because there's probably a 6'8" dude that couldn't make the league because he has the size 9 that I'm supposed to have. My point being, everybody spends money on something for their, autos or whatever. Some people knit and stitch. I have signatures of people that are more famous than me.
Yeah, and it's crazy how expensive those can actually be.
That's why I got insurance and a security system. Nobody try to jack me, you gonna get caught.
And so my inbox, I've been getting a lot of those emails from Beckett about insuring your collection.
Here's the funny part about that. I already have their service, so the left hand isn't talking to the right hand, and that's just bad marketing.
Gotcha. Yeah, and it's kind of overwhelming and everything. So we got Michael tuning in, wanting to say what's up to Corby. Thank you, Michael, or wanting to say what's up to Tabari. I'm sorry. So
that's all right. It's nice to hear somebody else mess up a name that wasn't mine.
Dude, it's been a long week. It's my 2 weeks with my kids, so it's chaos. But anyway,
I'm driving back and forth to Lexington, where I was doing shows at Comedy Off Broadway. I just booked gigs at the Laughing Tap in Milwaukee, Wisconsin. So there's a sports card store up there that I'm going to try to check out. And then going to be going through Illinois. And I know I'm a Cincinnati native. I'm wearing a Baltimore Orioles t-shirt, but I'm also a Cubs fan. They're out of town. The Brewers are out of town. The White Sox are in town. I hate the White Sox stadium. However, Carlos Rodon has been the coolest dude on that team to me for no good reason. So I'm like, do I try to go check out a White Sox game and be like, hey, Carlos, or something?
Yeah. And so you mentioned stand-up comedy, and I wanted to talk about that because like we were talking about before the show, a lot of people probably have a lot of misconceptions and think, oh, well, this guy's a comedian, he must be happy all the time and telling jokes, and it's all shits and giggles, Yeah.
Here's a vocabulary word for the day that a lot of people should look up when it comes to comedians. The password is misanthrope, a misanthrope. If you don't know what that is, go look it up, because a lot of comedians would fall into that category. Because here's the thing. I try to be a happy person, but let's be honest, would I be on stage telling jokes if everything was all smiles? And no, your boy got pain, son.
Yeah.
Like a lot of comedians, like we find the funny in a situation because that's how we would either cope with something or deal with it. And I've always said, I enjoy stand-up comedy for two reasons. I'm trying to find my camera. Okay, two reasons. First, comedians are the last truth tellers that we have in society. There's a lot of things that you can say in a joke that at first make people laugh, and then they'll think about it and they'll be like, oh, wait a minute. There's a lot of truth in that. And then second, it's hard to be sad when you're laughing, because you can have somebody cry from laughing, but if somebody is laughing from crying, that's usually a murderer, and you can catch their Netflix documentary in like 8 weeks.
Yeah, right. Especially now.
Yeah.
So, when did you figure out that, or when did it dawn on you that, hey, maybe I could do this for a living?
Well, see, here's the thing. I have another source of income because, as I joke about on stage, Kevin Hart is the only black dude under 6 feet tall making money doing this on a regular basis. Because there's a Chris Rock quote that haunts me. I have long been a fan of stand-up comedy, dating back to the day that I saw a man who was once known as America's dad, and now he's apparently America's creepy uncle. I saw him on a his special. Which I shan't name, but let's just say I think he wrote all the jokes himself that came out in the early 80s. And I've always loved comedy ever since. And then I was working at a newspaper, which when I do college shows, I tell them like a newspaper is like an iPad you can turn with your hands. But I wanted to do a story on the local stand-up comedy scene because that's just where I would always go and hang out, was at the local club that's like 15 minutes from my house. And I said, you know what? I've been wanting to do this for forever. And I had a friend of mine who had started doing stand-up. And I was like, okay, if he can do it, I know I can at least give it a try. And the first set, jokes were awful, but crowd laughed. They worked. And it was just like an ultimate high. And I used to do MC battles like 8 Mile style. And I know what I look like. So I'm going to let that sink in for whoever's watching or listening. But it was like, okay, you know, I was a little aged out of hip hop and I don't smoke anything. I don't drink anything. So I'm like, which was also an anomaly in comedy. But there's really nothing like that. It's the closest I'm going to get to being Giannis Antetokounmpo and winning an NBA championship is being like, woo, I made that half drunk crowd of 230 people laugh. And then they'll maybe buy a CD, although I'm almost out of copies of my debut album. So if you want these 8 CDs I got left, inbox, hit me up. You see the tag on your screen. And then I got like 5 boxes of my second album. And I just bought a new car and it doesn't have a CD player in it. So help me out, y'all. Help. I'll autograph them. Maybe I'll commit a crime one day and they'll be worth more.
There you go. Yeah, maybe you'll have a Netflix documentary.
Hey, at this point, they always say no press is bad press. And I'm like, have you talked to R. Kelly or Trevor Bauer lately? Yeah, I don't know. So the Chris Rock quote is, you can be the funniest guy in Detroit, but you're still the funniest guy in Detroit. I don't want to live in LA or New York because I like a yard. I like a nice house. Like, I don't want to be paying $2 to $3 grand a month for a studio apartment. But then again, that's why I haven't hit it big. So
so when you're coming up with your routine or your set,
yes.
Is it like a Dave Matthews concert where no 2 sets are the same, or do you have like hammered out jokes that you're like, I'm going in this order no matter what?
To answer your question, it is yes. Now let me explain what that asterisk is. And when I say an asterisk, I don't mean in a Barry Bonds way. I just mean like, let me explain it all the way out. Also, if y'all like these jokes out there, I hope you enjoy them. Otherwise, this is just how I talk. I'm not trying to just drop one-liners. I'm not that dude. It's like, hey, but this is how my brain works. I can be like serious, but let's be honest. Who wants to watch a 40-something-year-old black dude be real sad right now? Nobody wants that. So I'm going to keep it in like nice, happy, uplifting tone. But so as you can tell just from that rant, I'll go into something with an idea of what I'm going to say when I get on stage. But if something happens that day, if somebody says something in the crowd, somebody trips over something, somebody, whatever, I see a shirt and it reminds me of something, I'm like, oh, snap. Well, we're going with this because the closing joke on my second album is a 100% true story that I never intended on telling on a stage. I was at my home club one night and there was a rowdy group of like 8 dudes at a bachelor party. I think they wanted to be at a bachelorette party. And they were just being dumb. So I went all the way in, and I started talking about how they were acting, and I started talking about these two girls at a movie screening, and I ended up with the closing joke of my second album, which is over 16 minutes long. I would say more, but I'll just put you this way. If you want to know what the movie was, it's an animated movie. It stars a lot of young, funny people that you've heard of and seen. And it is a term for an all-male gathering without women present. And this movie set it in a different environment, and it is one of the raunchiest movies that I've ever seen in a theater.
Yeah.
So you can imagine how I almost got into a fist fight with two 20-something-year-old white women at the screening of that movie. You'll know why I have a 16-minute joke about it on my album.
Gotcha. So your first album,
yes,
how did that come about?
So the first time I ever flew, because I have two really big fears: dying in a plane crash and being homeless. And one of them, and I almost had to face, because I was like, okay, it was 2008. I had been doing stand-up like a year and a half, 2 years. That's when I started, like 2008. 2013, I finally had like what you would call a headlining set. You have to have at least 45 minutes when you're headlining a club. That's why my podcast, available on all major platforms, is called A Tight 45. Gotcha. The festival I got picked for was in San Francisco, and there was a company called Rooftop Comedy, now called Blonde Medicine, that was one of the big sponsors of the festival. And I got selected to go out. And I was like, well, guess we're getting on a plane. So my first flight ever was a 5-hour nonstop flight from Cincinnati to San Francisco. Festival, I had 2 shows. The first show was in the basement of a video store like the movie Clerks. I don't know anything about it, except I knew that I was not the target demographic. I was like, man, flew 5 hours. My aunt was nice enough to buy my plane ticket. I had some former neighbors that I could stay with, because otherwise, if I had spent all that money, I'd have been pissed. The second show, however, was in a nice little small theater, and I had a good set. And I've become a better comic where I can almost entertain any audience now. But at the time, it was like a bunch of picture like the MTV show Daria, and then picture me. Yeah, so I didn't enjoy the video store. Yeah. But then the next set went well, and I knew one of the guys at Rooftop from when he used to manage a rap group that I did a profile on here in Cincinnati. So things worked out. I got the deal, and debut album, Laughing with the Panther, also available on Amazon, iTunes, and other streaming services. Dropped on my birthday of December 3rd in 2013, back when they used to release albums on Tuesday before Friday.
Yeah.
So that's how that came about.
So how did you decide what club that you wanted to record that in? Like, were you worried about the acoustics or where the microphone type thing would be?
Nope, it was real simple. My home club is Go Bananas here in Cincinnati. They are renovating. We every local comic is like, we're happy we're seeing the renovation, but we are antsy for them to reopen. But my home club was Rooftop used to record at all these different clubs across the country.
Oh, okay.
And Go Bananas is like 15 minutes from my house, is where I started. They had everything set up. They've recorded a ton of comedians' albums. So it was real simple, real easy. And it was like I wouldn't have wanted to record my debut album anywhere else. And I recorded my second album there as well. Part of me is like, do I record the third album somewhere else? And I'm like, then again, they're already set up.
Yeah.
Have the experience. And it's a 15-minute drive home. I'm like,
yeah, why mess with a good thing?
Exactly.
So with your CDs, and we'll get into the autograph part.
Yes, I know there's some people like, get to the graphs. I didn't need to hear this dude I've never heard of talking about his jokes.
Nah, it's all right. It's all good. It's just my kids in the front room watching. I heard some laughs. So you're killing in my house right now.
Hey,
so
that's what I do. So I'm glad your kids think I'm funny, because I used to also teach during a 7-year span I call the darkness. Yeah, you don't want me to go down that path because I got some jokes. I'm waiting for one of my former students to see me in a club because they used to go on YouTube, and that's why I kept a lot of stuff off of YouTube, so I couldn't get in on the YouTube boom. But I started off as a G-rated comic. I'm a Christian, but a bad one. So if God doesn't grade on the curve, I'm in trouble because I can be corporate clean, or I can make Bernie Mac boy be like, oh my God, that boy got a filthy mouth. So. It's all what it is. But yeah, I don't have any Pokemon jokes, kids, I got nothing for the Pokemon, the Digimon. I'm just one single Blackmon trying to make something happen in the world today. So.
I like it. So do you have an autograph? Like, did you work on your own signature? Is it different from, okay, here's my free signature that you get if you don't buy a CD?
If anybody is coming up, they're usually, if they want something, I'm like, I'm my own manager, my own agent, my own concierge, lawyer and legal. So I'm pretty much one-stop shop. So if people are coming up, I'm happy to engage. Although I will say, as a comic, when you see the crowd leaving the showroom and you're out there in the lobby trying to sell,
yeah,
I like talking to people, obviously, but if someone's trying to have a really deep, if they were trying to have a conversation like this, I'm sitting there watching other people walk by. They're if they're on the fence, where they're and it's usually the if it's a man and a woman, the lady will be leaning to go get something, and the dude is I don't spend enough money trying to hustle her out the door. So I'll be sitting there trying to have a good conversation, but I'm sitting there $20, $20, $20, $20. I'm just cursing in my own head the whole time, come back after everybody else leaves.
Yeah, right.
But yeah, but I used to work on my signature when I was younger. Here's the thing. I actually don't like my signature. Here's why. It's legible and I can do it quick enough. But I'm sitting here looking at some of the signatures in my room and stuff. Tucker Barnhart, who was nice enough to sign an autograph for me today on a picture that I got with him in 2018. Tucker Barnhart has some of for those of you that may not follow baseball,
Gold Glove catcher.
Yes, the Cincinnati Reds Gold Glove catcher.
Yeah,
Tucker Barnhart has the nicest penmanship possibly of any athlete today. Every letter is legible. It looks great. And he's good with paint pens. He's good with Sharpies and ballpoint pens. He doesn't have pen skips, Francisco Lindor. He takes his time. He cares about what it looks like, unlike half of the NBA's draft class. And it's one of those things where it's it looks great. My signature is nice and legible, but I wish it was fancier. And I don't know how, it is what it is.
Mm-hmm.
So it's a nice autograph, but I actually wish my autograph looked a little bit nicer. So, but you know how you get into that hand motion. I don't understand these dudes that know how to do a free signature version and a paid signature. For example, Cincinnati Reds player Todd Frazier, former Cincinnati Red Todd Frazier. Yes, the Todd father. He was great when he was here in Cincinnati. And that was even his all-star year. Todd Frazier has a free signature, which is the craziest TF you'll see. And then there's a more Todd Frazier. Here's the thing. The Todd Frazier one is cool, but the TF one almost looks like a Nike logo that someone he had his own brand. So it's cool. I don't want to say anything because actually, yes, I do. Hunter Green, the Reds prospect. Hunter's a mess right now. Hunter's autograph. So if he gets a paid signing, he has the $G in the full letters. Now he does HG in person, or he'll personalize it. I've never gotten him in person. I've never had the luck. But on his Instagram the other day, there were 6 dudes in Louisville outside the stadium where the players pass, and he had at Louisville Bats, we need an underground entrance. And I'm like, here's the thing. He's a better athlete than myself. I can't speak for the two of y'all, but I know that when I saw a curveball at Babe Ruth League ball, I was like, well, I'm retired, because I thought the ball was going to hit me, and the umpire went strike, and I was like, well, I guess I'm done. And I know there's a lot of money to be made, and this is nothing that any autographer hasn't said a bunch, but I really do wish there were some guys who either A, would look up their eBay value if they think everything's going on eBay. And yeah, there are guys who every signature they get is going on eBay. Now, have I ever sold something? Yes, I have. However, if you look around this massive collection of garbage that some people would think is really dope, and some people would be like, oh my gosh, this is kind of sad. So as I'm walking to a different part of the basement, hopefully this Wi-Fi doesn't cut out. I'm gonna actually step out the picture for a second. Now, yeah, this is what I collect. This is what I like. It's kind of like a nice, memento of all the various things that I have. And I'm almost out of space, so I can't complain too much. But so yeah, so all these guys that think everything's going on eBay, it's really not. It's really not. But it's just one of those things where it's like it's a double-edged sword, because obviously some collectors ruin it for everybody. And when I say, I said the word collector. Let me rephrase that. Some of you dudes that look like you live in your mom's basement, you wear clothes that are 3 sizes too big, that may have stains on them. You are outside of a hotel with a book of cards, and it'd be one thing if you just had the team, but you got 8 to 12 for one player. And for every cool dude like John Gray of the Colorado Rockies that will sign everything, there's a whole bunch of y'all that you make it look like everyone's going on eBay. Then we got teenagers now that will sell everything online because they are chasing that quick buck. Because the pandemic, I mean, between lumber prices and everybody trying to build houses because everybody's watching too much HGTV like I was, like everybody who the car market has exploded, and now everybody wants an SUV again. So all your save the earth, if it ain't a hybrid, that's gone out the way. Because I bought a brand new Kia, and like my model was almost. I'm like, a Kia's almost out. I like my car, but I'm like, it's not a prestige vehicle. You know what I mean? I mean, like all this stuff is going through the roof, and then the card market. People are grading all that junk era wax, and now it's like, I got a PSA 10, 1992, John Stockton, NBA hoops, and it's like,
yeah.
So
I've actually met Hunter quite a few times because being here in Arizona, they have spring training up in Goodyear, and he's one of those guys. He's really polite about personalizing and everything, and it's just like kind of one of those things, and it's you just got to know how he is. And I've seen the guys that you describe like beg him not to put they actually want the $sign on the personalized autograph. But then there's other guys like at the time when he was with the Padres, Josh Naylor, he will sign your card, and then he asks you your name, and then he writes to Justin or whoever right on top of the autograph.
Yep.
Like the dude just doesn't care at all.
Right. And then there was like Jason Kendall. By the way, I saw one dude said, I feel attacked. Hey, I have cards. And it's just one of the things, like, it depends on everybody's decorum. Some guys will have the book and they'll try to get 1 or 2.
Yeah.
But then there's those guys, I mean, it's one of those things like everybody knows. There's like 4 types of collectors, I would say. The super polite tries to help everybody. I try to do that for karma, if nothing else. Plus, I don't need any more people. I don't need people hating me. I mean, I'm black. There's enough issues. Anyhow, in America. So you got the super polite. Then you got the guy who looks out for his boys. So he like won't go out of his way to help somebody, but he doesn't go out of his way to hurt somebody.
Gotcha. Yeah.
Then you got what I call the Dr. Jekyll and Mr. Hyde collector. One day they can be great, but then they're like, I got a hot tip that so-and-so is going to be at the KFC because he always goes there 3 hours before the game, and then they run and they don't tell anybody else, and then they're all over the eBay or they're all over Facebook like, look what I got that y'all didn't get. There's that person. And then there's just the garbage collector that's comic book guy from The Simpsons. He doesn't like anybody. He looks like he's dressed terrible. He probably smells. I said it. He's got an old cap with just sweat stains, just a sweat stain cap. He looks like the last thing athletic he did was get up off the couch and breathe. And it's just like, dude, come on. You know what
The
I
guy
mean?
you're describing, he attends the Carolina Panthers practices because the way the Panthers are set up is they get dressed at the stadium and then they walk up a public sidewalk to the practice field, and there's a fence along that where you can stand there and get autographs. And there's one guy that shows up and he has just a backpack full of stuff, and he'll switch depending on the players walk by. He'll pull out a poster or a picture or a card or a football, and he's got all this stuff, and he's trying to get as many players on it as possible. And he's got on white shoes with just dirt all over them, sweatpants, and
not the sweatpants.
And everybody there, they'll point him out. They'll be like, that guy right there. Anything he gets signed, it goes right to eBay.
Yep. You know, and it only takes like, one, and it's like if I go down, like, because when I used to teach, I used to have summers off. So like, and the Cubs are one of my favorite teams, so I would go down every day. If I got a guy the day before, unless I knew he was super nice, I didn't usually ask again. Recently I was at a Reds game and I had 2 photos left for Luis Castillo, and he was signing on a Sunday. I got in the line and I got my first photo done. I waited for everybody else that was in the area to go through, and then I came back with my second photo. I know Luis kind of gave me like a little bit of a look, but I said, thank you. I was polite. I'm not going to bother him again.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm also I tend to stand out in the autographing pack. Because I'm just going to say it. There's not a lot of black dudes or black people that collect signatures, because a lot of us, we just didn't grow up with it. It's just there's not a lot of us in collecting. I can't tell you how many shows I've gone to where it's been the black people have been me and the guy that is getting paid to sign. It's for whatever reasons, it's just not something that's real. So I wish there were more. Like, I see a lot more Asian collectors. I see a couple Hispanic collectors, but there's not a whole lot of black dudes. There's one dude I see on Facebook, and he sells everything. He's got his. I'm not even going, but you probably know if you in a big Facebook group. I'm not hating. I mean, he does well. But so it's just not a lot of us. I know that are out there that collect, but I enjoy them. I like just having like my little. I could have invested in like art, but I don't know art. I mean, I don't know transcendental neo-feudalism from Cubism. I'm like, that's pretty, that's ugly, that was overpriced. That's all I got. I have an appreciation for artistic things. Like, I love my Giannis piece that's over my shoulder, which I don't know how to get this in the shot right. I feel like my grandparent. So I got that jersey signed in 2019 before he won his first MVP. And then I got that print off of Auctions of Champions last year when it was pandemic ball and zombie basketball going on. And before Giannis won that MVP, there were like 12 people at the hotel. He won that MVP next year to 65 deep. And obviously a lot of those people are fans, but I mean, I've worked with pro athletes. I interned with the Bengals in 2000, and I helped them as a game day PR assistant. And no, I do not ask them when I'm working. I go to team sanctioned free radio shows, and I would get somebody, and they would see me, and they would not be like, hey, I wouldn't even be like, hey, I work with the PR department, but I'm not going to ask and mess that up. So, how you learn how to be tactful, but
yeah.
I mean, when there's like 65 deep, today in Cincinnati, I had left. I went down to the Reds garage after trying to have some luck with the Cardinals, which I didn't. Everybody knows that Joseph Daniel Votto is our most popular Reds player. Sometimes he'll sign, usually only for kids. It is outside the garage. It's not in the stadium. People have rules. Some guy was down there with his kids. His kids really want him. And then I heard he cursed out Votto after he drove past and was yelling at him. And I'm like, yeah, because that's going to make him stop.
Yeah.
My favorite. And actually, let me see if I can walk back over here to the area. I'm going to show you a signature, everybody. One of my favorite things that ever happened. He may never sign for me again. Oh, hold on. All-Star game ticket from 2015. And that would be Michael Trout above that. Anyhow, that was a paid signing. I can't get that dude for free. He gets mobbed. Anyhow, let's see here if you can get this into focus. So right there, you may be able to see it. because there's a lot of reflection because I didn't plan this out well. But those are 2 Nolan Arenado baseballs.
Oh yeah.
Now, I got Nolan Arenado once when I first started going down to the stadium, and I don't like going to the hotel. I like going to the stadium gate because it's less invasive, it feels like. Anyhow, a friend of mine was at the team hotel. All the players had, either taken the bus or walked, and I was just hanging out late. I didn't know how late. I was still learning the ropes. For whatever reason, I decided I was still at the gate, and a friend was like, yo, I just saw Nolan Arenado hopping like a black Acura. And I was like, okay. 5 minutes later, the act pulls up. I'm the only one at the gate. I was like, Mr. Arenado. And I still say Mr. All these dudes are younger than me for the most part.
Yeah.
But I'm like, Mr. Arenado, can you sign my ball? And I'll never forget, he was like, ran over, laced it up real quick, went inside, and whatever else. Back in I think it was 19 or 18, it's fuzzy. There's the before time and the panic time.
Yeah.
I was at the Reds game pre-Nets, and man, I know everybody hates those Nets. Oh, I hate them. They're necessary in this age of everyone looking at their cell phone. Baseball, what? But Nolan Arenado was starting to sign before the national anthem. And he was like a little bit away from me where I could see him, but I was like, he's probably not going to come my way. The anthem starts to play. He goes out for the anthem. He comes back and decides to keep signing. He starts to sign. Everybody decides to start acting stupid and pushing and everything else. And when the Minnesota Vikings came here to Cincinnati, Adrian Peterson started signing, and I got mobbed. I lost a mini helmet. I actually shielded a little kid from getting crushed. Somebody in the Minnesota Vikings group was nice enough to send me a Kyle Rudolph mini helmet as a replacement, which I then got rid of last year because I ran out of space. Anyhow, I say, hey, y'all, quit pushing. If you he'll try to get to everybody. If y'all just be patient. Arenado hears me, comes right to me, takes my ball, a Rockies 25th anniversary logo ball, out of my hand, signs it under the logo, gives it back to me like this to make sure that nobody tries to take it out of my hand, and then does the walk-off stare at everybody like, it's my greatest graphing story because I just don't like, I went inside recently with the Padres. Some of the players try to sign only for the little kids. I had like a bunch of little 8-year-old COVID probably carrying kids pushing and elbowing. I'm like, it ain't, I'm old. It ain't like it back in my day. It just ain't the same for the most part. That's why
people have lost their minds.
Yeah, man.
I've heard people talk so much shit to Cam Newton at practices because he'll sign like at practices he'll sign like one autograph the whole season, and the rest of the time he might nod at you or say what's up to you, but he'll just keep walking. And this one guy, he had tried to get this was probably like 2 weeks before the season ended. It was right before Christmas. And normally Cam comes up on a golf cart, somebody's driving him to the practice field, and if they're on a golf cart, obviously you're not getting them.
Right.
And he happened to be walking up, and even when I seen him, walking up carrying his helmet, my heart started beating a little bit, and I was like, this is like all of our like one chance is one opportunity. Right. And so he's walking up, and there's a guy way down at the end, and I can see him walking beside, like along with Cam, kind of like, at Subway, you're watching your sandwich finish, and you're just moving along with it. And I just see Cam throw his hand up like that, and Cam starts walking a little more. And I hear that guy say, yeah, that's why you ain't shit. That's why you ain't going to be in the league in 5 years. So at that point, when he said that, if Cam had even had an inkling that he was going to sign for somebody else, it was done. It was out the window. And there was like 4 people there like, you just need to go ahead and go to your car right now before something bad happens to you.
And I was like, I get it when because I had a friend of mine, and I don't want to say the athlete's name because he's never been mean to me, and I have his jersey hanging up on my wall, and I'm literally staring at it. Everybody can be human. My thing is like if you have somebody, if it's like 3 guys asking or something like that, you can either just be like a polite no, or you could just go ahead and do it. And like, maybe you miss out on that. Let's say $100 from Fanatics, which I probably shouldn't say the name of the company out loud. Oh man, I'm saying too much. I should go back to the hip hop rule of no snitching. But if there's like 3 dudes, you could sign that or whatever, or go ahead and personalize it if you're worried about it. Things of that nature. And it's always the guys you were talking about. You said Josh Naylor. It's always the guys who don't have those star careers that get super concerned. But then those are the guys that don't sign if their team wins a World Series or wins a world title. Then everyone's like, I gotta have them for my team set. And that dude's like, oh, I'm about to cash in on y'all. So
it's kind of crazy how that works. Because there's been a lot of guys that asked me what my name is, and I'm just being polite, like, oh, my name's Justin, what's yours? Well, but I have your freaking baseball card, of course I know what your name is. But it's the most random people that always ask you what your name is. Hunter Strickland, Carlos Asuaje, and you're like,
there's a wrestler who's currently in AEW who used to be in WWE. There's a guy here, he is kind of like obsessed with WWE. So in the before time, my man would drive hours to different cities to go grab. He kept a lot, he sold a lot. So it was like a 50-50 balance. He told me where to go in Dayton, and he almost didn't want to tell me because that was like one of his nest eggs. I went to Dayton, and I met Becky Lynch before she was the man, and I know she was just trying to get inside. I tried to be super polite because I know she really didn't want it, but she was nice, and she took the photo, and her face in the photo, I was like, man, I'm that guy, because she was like, you could tell she was just like annoyed, but she was being nice. And that Becky Lynch figure is behind me. It's never going anywhere because I'm a huge fan of hers. But there was a guy who's currently in AEW, and I had his action figure. It had just dropped like within the last month. And I liked his gimmick in WWE. Nobody else was really like asking too much. I think like maybe 2 or 3 other people had like some generic like WWE sign. They were trying to whatever. And he was like, oh, what's your name? And in my head, I was like, he's about to personalize it. So I just go, Tabari. And he goes, yep, can't spell that. And then he just signs it and hands it back. I'm like, one for the ethnic.
Yeah. So that's actually a good segue because one of the reasons why me and Houston created this show is because we're tired of seeing the same thing on social media, like the Tua Prism or the Justin Herbert, or I mean, I know a Mike Trout rookie card is a grail, but I'm tired of seeing it. Give me something different, And like I was talking to you before the show, one of the things on your Facebook profile that I love are all of your figures, your McFarlanes, your Funkos, and that's how we met.
Yes,
was I ended up getting a McFarlane figure signed for you, which was one of the most stressful autograph signings of my life, because I think the signing was on like I want to say it was a Saturday, and you put out a post on maybe it was a Thursday or a Wednesday.
Yeah, I discovered about it super late.
Yeah, and so I replied.
And for those who are wondering, as you can see from the various, if you can see from the various Bengals paraphernalia here in the basement, it was a former Bengals player. And let's just say his tenure with the team did not end well.
Yeah. Oh, I'll name him Carson Palmer. I had him. It was so stressful, but it was one of the most enjoyable days of my life.
And it's the only time I've ever overnighted an item in 35+ years of collecting. It is the only time I have ever overnighted an item, and you were nice enough to get it done. You had the picture of him signing it, and Carson Palmer
put the wrong damn
number 9 for the Bengals, signed it and put number 3, which was his number with the Cardinals.
Yeah.
Cam Newton, who wore number 2 at Auburn, wrote number 1 on my McFarlane because he was with the Panthers at the time.
Yeah, man. It was like I remember telling you my kids were giving me a hard time because I was freaking out about the pen and everything.
I gave you the paint pen.
Yeah, it damn near went empty because I was like, I was working on it, making sure that it was fresh. It was
Right.
ready.
Oh man,
it was prepped.
If you at some point, if you decide to keep doing the show, because I don't know how if you have a lot of viewers or if it's just like the three of us plus our friends.
Pretty much.
At some point, someone needs to do, and there's videos on YouTube, but somebody's gonna have to do something to get it back in people's minds about paint pens, because the dudes at like going to like a Reds Fest or some type of team convention, and there's just those dudes, they're just shaking it, and I'm like, this is gonna blow up so bad.
Yeah, and that's the thing. Shaking it's cool, it mixes it, but you also got to write with it to get the paint flowing.
Yeah, and I have a Joey Votto bat that I got signed at Reds Fest. I brought a backup pen, but my main pen had never failed me. 5 minutes before I'm supposed to get up to his part of the line, I just see it, and I was like, no! Always something.
Yeah. So I wanted to talk to you about your figures. So do you already have the figures in your collection, and that's how you decide that you're going to get them signed, or do you see a signing that's coming up for an athlete? Or I also know that you have celebrities too, like movie stars and things like that.
Yes.
Do you see that they have a private signing coming up, and then you're like, okay, let's see if they have a Funko?
So, to answer your question, it's another yes, because it was a combination of all these things.
Yeah.
For example, I brought a couple of Funkos to show you here that I had ready, so I don't have to try to walk around. Although, I don't know if you can see, but above that Chad Johnson jersey, above my Breaking Bad bald shiny head, is an Andy Dalton and an AJ Green. And the AJ Green taught me a lesson, because it's the orange Chase figure, but I had an orange paint pen. I see people do this all the time on Facebook groups. Do not use the color of the jersey for your paint pen choice, because the signature is going to get lost when you're looking at it. You want to use a contrasting color. And there are different brands of paint pens that work better with certain colors, like Sharpie red is okay. It dries kind of pinkish. Deco color red is okay. It dries kind of pinkish. Crink, which are like $6 to $7 a pen, those dry phenomenally red. And not everybody's heard of Crink. I have an art supply store that's 2 miles from my house. They carry the Crinks, and I was talking to them about colors, and they showed me. And so I always tell people, experiment with different colors and different pens, and you want to do contrast. On dark backgrounds, you typically want light colors. On light backgrounds, you want dark colors, because it makes the signature pop. Now, sometimes at a private signing or a paid signing that's public, you have a little bit more control. If you're getting somebody for free and they don't feel like using it, like I know Luka Doncic, I've never gotten Luka. I think I'm the only dude between here and Indianapolis that doesn't have at least one Luka. And I'm not going to try for him probably next season, because everybody's going to be trying to go back to get him again and again and again. It's just like Seth Curry. I've never had a chance to go after Seth in person, but I'm almost not wanting to make the drive. And this is another thing too. Like, some athletes don't know, like, people will drive. Like, Indianapolis is the closest NBA city for me. That's a 2-hour trip up, a 2-hour trip back. And they're like, well, that's on you. And I'm like, but yo, does this show you how much I really want you for me? I'm like, but we've already covered that topic. Back to the Pops. So this is from a private sign. This is an Uma Thurman. I wanted a Kill Bill figure. The Kill Bill action figures are hard to find, and her Kill Bill Funko, ooh. So I found one from a terrible Batman movie, but it was her it's the Batman and Robin movie one.
Yeah.
Okay. Now, this is, I'm sorry, I'm not with the webcam. So you see that it's green, and everybody knows that Poison Ivy is green. However, I had it, I put a place for it to sign where she'd be signing it above on her, like a kind across the face. Also, Funko Pops, if anybody knows Funko, these protectors suck. These things are they do not stay in there well. The tops get loose. So there's that. Anyhow, that one works. Now, sometimes you get lucky and you get somebody before they blow up. Now, I just sent off for this person to complete a movie poster for a movie I did not like, but it was to complete a multi-signed cast poster. It'll be the first multi-signed piece for any celebrities that weren't like, I have a UC basketball team piece, but it's going to be my first completed poster. Gal Gadot did the Rhode Island Comic-Con right before Justice League and the first Wonder Woman came out. At the time, she was like maybe like $100 signature because she had been in like Fast and Furious, and that was like her major credit. The Rhode Island Comic-Con, she wasn't ready for it, and they weren't ready, and it was like I heard it was like really badly handled. It wasn't like the greatest whatever in terms of that. But a guy that I have never met in person, we have different political views. But he was nice enough to help me out. He was able to go get this done. I think this is either silver paint pen or like a really good silver, like the Sharpie that Dale Earnhardt Jr. has his own type of marker that he always runs with at events. But it's celebrity authentics, authenticated. This was like $100 investment. I'm not going to tell you how much I just paid to have her complete the Justice League poster, which Ben Affleck screwed up because I had a Post-it note where for him to sign, and he got part of his A on the Post-it note.
Oh, Ben.
I've seen other Affleck signatures. Apparently, he screws up a lot of his signatures. So I've seen some with a completed A and some with a half completed A. And a friend of mine snuck a photo of him signing at the event in Texas because, you know, they get so worried and people pay for selfies. And I'll pay somebody for an autograph. I won't pay you for a selfie. Here's why. I'll pay you for your signature because I know that your signature has value and possibly can be resold. I'm not going to pay you for a picture to make it look like we were friends for 5 seconds. Mm-hmm. That's just me. But so I got that done. If anybody wants to know how much Gal Gadot's upcoming private signing is, Star Wars Autograph Universe is doing it. And you can look up the various pricing. And I have a full-size original Justice League 27x40 picture. Yeah. All right. So sometimes you get lucky on the street. And you know, other graphers, you know, you find out stuff. Tim Allen was here in Cincinnati a couple years ago.
Yeah, so he has Toy Story Funkos.
Yes, he does. And Tim Allen was here to do a show. People had done some recon, and this was the different types of graphers. One of the nice ones told me the info that the people that fall into categories 3 and 4 wouldn't.
Yeah.
So one of the really nice guys here in town told me about that, and we were out there. We thought we missed him, and he came out from a sound check. He couldn't have been nicer. There were like maybe 10 of us, and I've noticed that like 10's like most guys cut off.
Okay.
For the most part, like, you know, it's like a crowd, but not a crowd. You know what I mean? So I was able to get that one done. He couldn't have been nicer. I got 2 done. Some people were there with like 4, 5, and 6. They're like, "Oh, he racks," and I was like, I got 2 done. I sold 1, kept 1. I was like, "Thank you, Tim Allen." This is from a paid signing. This is Jeff Goldblum, who has another paid signing coming up. Jeff Goldblum has one of those signatures that sometimes it looks okay, and then sometimes it's like, "Hey, who let Jeff have wine?" Like, no, you know what I mean? So that one came out. And then now this is one of my favorites for a couple of reasons. I like wrestling. Yes, I know. I'm a grown man. Deal with it. I'm not the only one. But this is one of the 2 of the New Day pops. Now, if you're familiar with wrestling, you know that and these are in the protector, so I'm sorry for the glare.
That's all right.
If you know anything about wrestling, there haven't been a whole lot of black champions. The New Day was a group. They were getting ready to basically almost get fired because they had terrible gimmicks. They got a terrible gimmick, then they made it work. They brought their true personalities out. And one time here in Cincinnati, Xavier Woods, after SmackDown, if you don't follow wrestling, he's a huge gamer. He has a channel for up, down,
down. I love that channel, man.
He tweeted out that he was going to an arcade bar here in Cincinnati. Hating the job I had at the time and being a wrestling fan, I'm like, screw it. I'm being clean because I don't know who's gonna watch this. Trust me, this ain't how I always talk. I said, screw it, I'm going down. I got there and I was trying not to overly fanboy out or whatever else. He was there, he was playing games, he had a lady with him at the time, but I was like, hey Xavier, I saw your tweet. I said, hey, I figured if you was gonna put it out there, I wanted to come down. I was very personable about it. I got him to sign. I had another one of these already done because this is the second one of the 3-packs. I had one of these already done that a guy in Pittsburgh got done for me. But being a wrestling fan, being a New Day fan, I went down and I had Xavier. He was nice enough to sign it in the blue. And he was cool. And then he whooped my ass in NBA Jam. If you have not played NBA Jam in some time on an arcade version, I know they got that home version now.
Yeah.
I almost bought that game just in case he ever tweets about coming back again, because it felt like a new puppy trying to learn his legs. Like I hadn't played NBA Jam in 20 years. So anyway.
And did he beat you with one of the obscure teams? Like, why are you choosing Scott Styles?
Oh, here's the thing. I used his hometown Atlanta Hawks too, because that was one of my favorite teams growing up. And I can tell you another story, but I don't want to run too much long because I know we're at 51. But long story short, the New Day came to Dayton for a book signing appearance. I took off work and somebody just hit me up about doing a consignment. I don't know if they're watching the show, but there you go.
There you go, man. Hey.
But they were doing a book signing in Dayton. I took off work. I was like, somebody else can teach these kids the rest of the afternoon. Got up to Dayton. A friend of mine had got me a spot in line because I knew it was going to be packed from past WWE experiences. And they were signing their book. And I was like, I got to ask. And so I said something to the person before I got up there. I was like, Xavier already signed this. I told him, I met him here in Cincinnati. And I got up there and I was like, Xavier, NBA Jam. And he was like, oh, I remember. And then Big E and Kofi couldn't have been cooler. Yeah. I got that one done. Like, the thing I always tell people is I hate when people post on Facebook, what is this worth?
Did I do good?
An autograph is worth whatever someone is willing to pay for it. There are plenty of people I would love to have in my collection. Their pricing for me is outrageous. There are other people who have better life circumstances that can drop 3, 4, 5 on them. I understand that a company needs to make money and they're going to have to pay the athlete to make it worth it to the athlete to do the signing, etc., etc., etc. So I know everything all the way around. Are some guys getting paid way too much? Yeah. Are some guys going to get burned out because they're like, why am I signing for free all the time when I keep seeing people post it? Because Nicholas Castellanos is the Reds autograph MVP. He is He is a nice dude. He doesn't say much. He has been signing, and he's starting to slow it down because people have been trying to take advantage of Nick. But he signed this weekend. I know he didn't sign on the road in Kansas City. I heard, but dudes in Kansas City are getting Salvador Perez like every other night. So I can't feel bad for y'all. But here's what I will tell you. I'm an Ohioan. I like LeBron James, the businessman. I'm not a fan of him as an athlete per se because I hate the Jordan versus LeBron debate. I was a Dominique Wilkins fan and I still concede to Jordan. I also hate the whole super teams thing. But he's one of the top 5 all time. He's an Ohioan. He does great community work. Anybody that's going to tune out right now, let me do this. # Black Lives Matter. You can leave now. So I like LeBron. Upper Deck used to do insane Black Friday deals. They used to do like 50% off stuff. Knowing what I know now, I would have dropped $1,000 to buy Michael Jordan 16 by 20s. I'm going to show you 2 pieces that are 2 of the greatest pieces in my collection. Not because I'm huge fans of the athletes, but because of the stories behind them. Now, also to show you how many autographs I have, that's too much. This behind me is the downstairs water closet because there's no There's nothing but Sports Illustrateds and 2 16x20s all along the walls that are signed. However, and this will be like my grand finale unless you have other questions. Whoop, almost dropped my laptop.
Yeah, I do.
Okay. So here's a Seth Curry that I got on sale from Fanatics before they got crazy.
Mm-hmm.
But this is a Peyton Manning number 6 out of 18. Let me try to back up. So that's a 16x20 number 6 out of 18. Now, you know what his pricing is through Fanatics right now, right?
Peyton, on what? What item?
A 16x20 like that.
Hopefully, it's cheaper than Brady. I'd say maybe
everybody. He's about 400, I think, on something that size.
Yeah.
You know how much I got that for Upper Deck when they used to do their Black Friday sales, like in 2013 or 14?
200?
Nope.
Lower. What you think, Houston?
I'm gonna go 110.
108 with tax.
Damn! Look at you, Houston.
And then whatever the shipping was. So
yeah.
Now, so that's one of the greatest deals I ever got. Yeah, Upper Deck authenticated, everything else. Now, here's the thing. I don't have a good light for this because this is in a different corner of the basement. However, you might be able to see that this is a LeBron James 16x20. What you can't see because there's no light in that area is that LeBron James that I tried to show you.
That's a big ass LeBron signature too, compared to what he does.
It's a 16x20, numbered 13 of 25 in the world. Now, you know how people get numbered items and you're like, okay, it's numbered for that series or whatever.
Yeah.
We also know that LeBron ain't sitting out here like, all right, I'm gonna sign for everybody. So basically, unless Upper Deck loses his rights or he decides to start signing that print again, there's 25 of those in the world. I have that behind museum glass. It's also got an inscription.
What was the inscription?
I was gonna say it says 2012 SI SOY for Sportsman of the Year.
Yeah, okay.
Now, I'm sure you may have seen that video earlier this year where LeBron was nice enough to sign some Funko Pops for his 2 kids whose parents must be loaded to have had access to get either in the hotel or outside the game. And he signed the 2 big giant Funko Pops for the kids who had purple paint pens. And I'm like, either these kids at 9 years old are savvier than I ever was, or the dads are like, we're going to try and sell these bitches. Anyhow, I hope they still have them. They're theirs. They can do what they want with them. At the time, Upper Deck had that listed for $1,000. They, for Black Friday, dropped it to half price. That print is still available on Upper Deck's website. I'm not going to tell y'all how it is, but I'm going to tell you, everybody, once again, for those of you watching, I have security. There's a cop that lives 3 doors down. And I'm not going to say I'm going to die over an autograph, but I will say that one of us is going to leave with at least a permanent limp, and I don't plan on it being me. So Upper Deck still has that print on its website. You were talking about Tom Brady prices?
Yeah.
Let's just say you could buy 3 Tom Brady 16x20s and have change left over for what they want now.
Man, that's a car.
Well, you know what my greatest autograph come up is?
What was that?
There was this Super Bowl in like 2000 or 2001 where this underdog quarterback was going up and people weren't sure if he was going to win because he was playing a guy that had already won a Super Bowl and was the MVP, who was a former grocery store bagger turned good and like some Hollywood Invincible type movie stuff. And he fooled around and won the Super Bowl. And being the guy that I am, I was like, if this guy wins, I should go on eBay and try to buy one of his autographed rookie cards. And I paid $80 for it. But Thomas Brady turned out to be really, really good. So that certified score autograph rookie card I have that I paid $80 for, I think goes around $2,000 now ungraded. And I don't really know about the grading thing and the card mess right now. I wanted to go to the National, but I heard this $250 to get something graded at the National or $600 same day.
It's pretty insane.
Yeah. I would like to get my Tom Brady certified autograph rookie card, which is in a safety deposit box, graded one day. It's also chilling next to my Joe DiMaggio, my Upper Deck Ultimate collection, Griffey Father and Son, numbered out of 99, which I think is a Gem Mint 10. And this guy named Michael Jeffrey Jordan that has a autographed All-Star. It's an autographed sticker, but it's an autographed sticker card with a patch of an All-Star Game jersey numbered out of 50. And it shows him in a Bulls uniform, which, as you know, Upper Deck, despite having his rights, can't do right now because they don't have an NBA contract, which is why after a certain year, every Jordan piece they sell in terms of a card has him pictured in his UNC gear.
I was not aware of that. So
neither was I, because there was a dude on Facebook that was talking about selling stuff. And let's just say, before I got my new day job last year, your boy was hurting for many years. So I was sitting there in my pursuit of happiness moment, like, do I need to sell my Jordan? And the book, you know how people used to be slaves to the Beckett price guide?
Yeah.
It booked for $600. The last offer I had on that card 2 years ago was $3,000 ungraded. Once again, for those of you that are thinking about robbing somebody, save the deposit box. It ain't even here. And the key is not at my house. And if I show up at my parents' house at midnight, they're gonna know something's up.
Yeah, and that's pre-Last Dance prices too. Yeah. But we've hit that magic hour. It has flown by. There's still a lot.
I talk a lot.
Yeah, that's okay. And the good thing is, even though you talk a lot, you answered a lot of my questions that I didn't even have to ask. So, I mean, you made my job easier and enjoyable, so I didn't have to remember.
As someone who has worked as a professional journalist, I'm actually going to do some freelance writing for Xavier University basketball in a couple of days. Who's someone who hosts a podcast and whatnot. I try to be good with these things, which is why, once again, to get this plug in, because I'm shameless.
Yeah, plug everything.
Yes, at Tabari McCoy on all social media, Twitter, Instagram, Facebook. I have not joined TikTok because it's hard enough for me to write regular jokes. Why do I gotta start doing funny dances? So website, TabariMcCoy.com. There's that. The podcast, A Tight 45 with Tabari McCoy. I have interviewed Ryan Leaf, who was very forthcoming, very honest. Like, he owns up to everything. He's trying to do that thing that we always say we want people to do. You know what I mean? I've had Ken Anderson, the former Bengals quarterback, on. Current Cincinnati Reds pitcher Art Warren. I've had Jacqueline Smith from Charlie's Angels. I've had AVP player Tracy Callahan on. I've had Roy Wood Jr. from The Daily Show, Sarah Colonna from Insatiable on Netflix, and Shameless on Showtime. I've had Jeffrey Rosenberg from TriStar Productions, the company that's handling the majority, if not all, of the autographs at the National. So even if you thought you didn't like me or I was long-winded, on my podcast, I shut up and let them do the talking. So it's comedians, it's actors, it's entrepreneurs, it's a bunch of people, and it's available on all major platforms. And I know that if I use this laptop again, I got to get better, because I usually use my desktop. I'm going in and out of shots like a bad aunt on a home video. So,
what about any upcoming shows?
Yes. In 2 weeks, I have a show here in Cincinnati at the American Sign Museum, which, if you haven't been, like I haven't, I've heard so many things about it. And I was like, oh, this is going to be a perfect chance. I've heard literally nothing but good things. It's all about, like, so if you like Americana, stuff like Coca-Cola signs or like road signs, it's a great place. I'll be there Thursday, August 12th, headlining. August 13th and 14th, the Milwaukee Brewers are going to be out of town, so I can't catch a game. I'll be at the Laughing Tap, Milwaukee, Wisconsin. And then in October, got a bunch of shows in Washington State, not DC. And I almost forgot, I'll be in Indianapolis for the Little Flower concert series. That's all the information is on my website. You can catch me there. Emails tabari@tabarimccoy.com. Send hate mail, even if you got it. I'll read it out loud on the show. I may say your name, but I'll read it. So send whatever.
Awesome. Houston, what you got going on?
Oh man, nothing at all, really. Hope to follow that. I mean, I got another American Lucha Wrestling interview up, and this one was kind of special because it's Larry Osley, who I met at Don Corneto's visitation, and he's the one that hooked me up with American Lucha Wrestling to help promote them and promote their wrestlers in the independent scene, because they don't get any TV time. They don't get out there unless somebody puts them out there. So that interview with him dropped today, and we get into a little bit of how me and him met at Don Cado's visitation. So check that out. He goes into gimmick and he calls out some people that jumped him. One of them was a former tag team partner. So the last minute and a half of that interview gets pretty tense.
Man, congratulations to getting a wrestler. I have been trying to get wrestlers on my podcast. I have not been able to land a wrestler yet, because a lot of them want to be paid, and then a lot of them have their own podcast.
Yep.
I have not got a wrestler yet.
Well, it's funny that you mentioned that, because Houston is working with AEW, American Lucha Wrestling, down in Burlington, North Carolina, and he's interviewed a few wrestlers, and I'm sure they would love to be on some more social media accounts.
We'll talk off mic.
Yeah. We'll set something up. I'm sure I can work something out, because like I said, they want these guys to be promoted as much as possible, because they're not on TV, they don't get TV time. Somebody just has to see them at the right time, or they just have to hit a AEW or a WWE tryout just right.
Yep.
From there, but yeah, we'll see what we can't work out.
Awesome. So thank you, Tabari, for coming on. Thank you, Houston. I absolutely don't have a damn thing going on other than dinner, so that's all I have to promote. So
you know what? You made me think of something though. I had to say this. My dream will be one day to have an athlete that I'm trying to get their graph, and they'll be like, "Aren't you that comedian?" Because I've actually given a couple of people like downloads of my Pac-Man Jones, Adam Jones, in Cincinnati, and I gave him one of my CDs, and I mentioned I gave to him, and he wrote he was like, "It was pretty good," and I was like, "See, Pac-Man approved." And then there was another legal situation. I was like, "Oh,
yeah, put it on your CD. It's pretty good." So yeah, but thank you everyone for tuning in. I appreciate it. We will see you guys same time next Sunday.